There is no fanfare, no thunderclap, just a stillness deeper than oceans, smaller than thought, cradled in the dark warmth of the human body. And within that stillness something stirs, not a sound, but a motion. Inside a fallopian tube, narrow as a thread of silk, millions of cells rush forward, each one carrying a dream written in DNA. They swim, tirelessly, drawn not by sight or reason, but by a pull as old as life itself. Among them, one is quiet, persistent, lucky, not the strongest or the fastest, but simply aligned with fate. This is the one who will meet the egg. The egg, too, has waited. It is not passive. It pulses gently with readiness, surrounded by a cloud of nurturing cells. And when the sperm reaches it, they do not collide. They communicate. Membranes sense each other like fingertips in the dark. Proteins interlock. A chemical message flares, invisible to the eye, but electric in its meaning. Now, the gates open to one, and close to all others. In that instant, that quiet, irreversible instant, you begin, the two become one, and the membranes fuse. It's not dramatic, but it is monumental. From two halves of genetic code, a new whole forms, a zygote, a single fertilized cell. It holds nothing but instructions, but those instructions are enough to build a heartbeat, a brain, a soul housed in skin. You are not yet aware, but already you are becoming. You are the sum of lineages, ancestors curled inside chromosomes, half from one life, half from another, and now entirely your own. Then a story unlike any other. Within hours, the zygote divides. One cell becomes two, a mosaic rearranging itself into meaning. This is called cleavage, though there are no sharp edges here, only softness, only unfolding. Each cell, called a blastomere, whispers to the others, asterisk, you become this, I become that. No arguments. With potential, it drifts gently down the fallopian tube, cushioned by cilia that sweep like ocean grass. Every motion is patient, as though the body itself is cradling its newest whisper. You are not attached to anything yet. You are simply floating, carried, and still you divide. At 5 days, you change again, a hollow echo of what will one day be your chest, your lungs, your mouth open in breath. This hollowing makes you a blastocyst, and it marks the beginning of your first true conversation with the world, because now you must land, find a place to stay, to root, to grow. You reach the uterus, vast and ready, its walls plush and pulsing. You hover briefly, almost hesitant, and then you sink in, not like an invader, but like a guest welcomed by design. You are received, not resisted. The womb wraps around you, sealing you in warmth, protection, and silence. As much as you do, hormones shift, blood supplies reroute, and though you are smaller than a grain of salt, you are already commanding great symphonies of change. Now, something even more beautiful begins, the merging of form and purpose. Cells will start to specialize. They will take on tasks, will become the thread of a spine, another the pigment of an eye. But all of that still waits, just beyond this pause. For now, you rest in the dark, but the spark that made you has not gone out. It burns, steady, soft as starlight. You are not a being yet, but you are a beginning, and that beginning is enough to move galaxies. The body that holds you hums with knowing. Its chemistry sings in languages you have yet to learn, about protection, transformation, patience, not from memory, but from the ancient instructions curled within your DNA. Instructions passed from every creature that came before. Instructions that whisper, build, asterisk, become, begin, and so you do. You have no face yet, no voice, but it is certain. This is the story of becoming, not all at once, but one quiet motion at a time. But with attention, you can almost hear the moment when a single cell chooses to become many. It is in this sacred silence that life begins, not with noise, but with purpose. Are no longer just a spark. You are a whisper of form. And how do those many cells know what to become? That quiet mystery awaits in the next fold of your becoming, in the soft logic of your body's first blueprint. You are still so small, a cluster of cells, each no bigger than a dust mote, nestled in the deep warmth of the womb. And yet, within you, of molecules, coiled tightly within the nucleus of every cell. It does not speak aloud. It hums quietly, like a lullaby made of atoms. A song older than words, passed down from the beginning of life itself. Each cell you carry holds the same library, and yet, somehow, each one will choose to read a different chapter. Some will open the page on skin, others will flip to the part about blood, or bone, or brain. All of it already written, all of it already you, forming rungs on that twisting ladder. And it is in the arrangement of these letters, millions, then billions, in delicate sequence, that your body finds its instructions. This is not random, this is not rushed, it is deliberate, it is beautiful, and it is happening inside you now. With each division, your cells carry this code like a whispered promise. Asterisk, I will become something. Asterisk, I will know what to do. And astonishingly, they do. Made of molecules, signals, and time. They choose which genes to read, which pages to turn, which instructions to copy. They do not rush. They do not make mistakes. Fold themselves into perfect shapes. Some become messengers. Some become scaffolds. Some become switches, flipping on entire networks of activity. This is the beginning of differentiation, the process by which one cell decides to become something different than its sister. They start as equals, but soon, like seeds in different soil, they grow into unique forms. You do not choose this path. Another, nestled inside, might softly respond, asterisk, then I will become the embryo, the beginning of a body. These conversations continue in silence. It is chemistry. It is timing. It is touch. The blueprint doesn't just tell your cells what to become. It tells them when, where, and how. A gene may remain asleep for days, then suddenly awaken at the exact right moment, just as a limb begins to bud or a heartbeat begins to stir. And not all of the code is about building parts. Some of it is about building connections, the delicate bridges between cells that will one day allow thought, movement, and memory. Even now, you are not just forming tissues, you are forming possibility. It is strange to think that something so small, so silent, can hold so much potential. But that is the nature of DNA. It carries everything while carrying almost nothing. Strands thinner than a strand of silk wind and unwind inside your cells, over and over, like dancers rehearsing a sacred choreography. And yet, with all this precision, with all this ancient knowledge, something even more extraordinary happens. Asterisk, asterisk, variation. Asterisk, asterisk, you are not a copy. You are a remix. Half of your DNA comes from one parent, half from the other. Each half brings not just features, but stories, traits inherited from generations past. A curve of a lip, and sometimes tiny changes occur. A misplaced letter, a skipped beat, a new turn in the code. These mutations are not mistakes. They are variations, often harmless, sometimes helpful. Sometimes they make you one of a kind. You are the only version of your blueprint in the known universe, and that, too, is quietly miraculous. Your cells multiply with grace. You are no longer just a zygote. You are now an embryo, a growing being, guided by a code older than time and newer than breath. And while you still have no thoughts, your body is already solving problems: where to place the head, where to curve the spine, how to begin. A heart cells migrate like travelers, seeking destinations they somehow already know. Some crawl, some flow. A blueprint that draws itself as it's being built. All of this, and yet you do not know that you exist. Every moment your DNA hums. It doesn't shout. It doesn't boast. It simply offers the quiet rhythm of becoming. Will form. Openings will appear not by accident, but by design. You will not just grow cells. You will grow structure. Asterisk, asterisk, systems. Shape. Asterisk, asterisk. The blueprint of you is not just about the parts. It is about the pattern. And within that pattern, a tiny pulse begins to rise. A flicker in the dark. The heart is coming. Its arrival will change everything. Because with the heart comes circulation. With circulation comes nourishment. With nourishment comes the chance to grow faster, deeper, stronger. The blueprint will continue its work, unfolding day by day, turning silence into structure and form into feeling. But first, there must be a beat, a signal, a pulse of purpose. And just beyond the curve of time, the heart is preparing to whisper. You are not yet shaped like anything familiar. No eyes, no fingers, no heartbeat, but you move, not by choice, not by will, but through gentle, invisible currents. You are a sphere of becoming, carried softly down a quiet passage. This passage, the fallopian tube, is narrow, yet welcoming. Its walls pulse with kindness, lined with tiny hairs that wave like fields of grass. They don't push, they guide. Each motion is rhythmic, steady, patient. You drift. You do not rush. Your pace is not your own, and that somehow feels right. Inside you, cells are already whispering instructions. One part becomes the embryo, you. Another part will become the placenta, your lifeline, your connection to the outside world. Even now, you are not alone. You are being carried, not just by anatomy, but by time itself, by the unfolding story of every life that came before you. And then the journey pauses. You reach a wider space, a chamber, dark and warm. The uterus, it does not welcome you loudly. There is no ceremony, just a deep readiness, like soil that has waited for rain. The uterus has been preparing. Its lining, thick and rich with blood vessels, is soft, moist, alive. It does not question your arrival. It simply receives. You hover briefly, a blastocyst, a hollow ball of cells, barely visible, but bursting with potential. And then you begin to land. Cells on your surface, called trophoblasts, extend outward, not aggressively, but curiously. They reach, they sense, they touch the uterine lining with tender precision. And something remarkable happens. You begin to implant. It is not unlike a seed finding earth, not a collision, but emerging. Your cells burrow inward, folding themselves into the womb's embrace. They dissolve gently into the lining, blending, anchoring, becoming part of something larger. This moment, this anchoring, is called nidation, a word that comes from nest. And truly, this is your nest, soft, silent, steady. As you embed, you send a signal, a chemical whisper. Asterisk, I am here. Asterisk, keep me safe. And the body hears you. Hormones shift. The immune system softens. The mother's body, though she may not know it yet, begins to change. Your cells release HCG, a molecule that tells the body, asterisk, do not shed this lining. Asterisk, hold on to me. Asterisk, I am beginning. This tiny signal is the first chemical sign of pregnancy. You are still smaller than a grain of rice, but you already shape your environment. You already ask for care. As you sink deeper, your trachea change. Some become bridges, allowing nutrients to pass from mother to embryo. Others become roots, connecting you to the spiral arteries of the uterus. From this will grow the placenta, an organ made for you, but not part of you, a partner, a provider. The placenta will feed you, oxygenate you, filter your waste, protect you from harm. And it begins now, in these earliest days, cell by cell, thread by thread. Meanwhile, the cells inside you are gathering into a disc, a soft, double-layered structure that will become your body. These two layers, the epiblast and the hypoblast, face each other like folded hands. Between them, a space begins to form, the amniotic cavity. This will be your sea, a place to float, to grow, to move without gravity's pull. The amniotic sac seals gently around you, filling slowly with fluid, clear, warm, silent. It is not unlike returning to the ocean, to a world where pressure is even, where sound is muffled, where motion is a lullaby. Here, in this suspended space, you are untouched by the world. And yet, the world is already building you. Your cells divide still, but now they begin to do more than multiply. They organize. At the edge of the epiblast, a line appears, the primitive streak. It is not a mark you can see, but a signal that your body has chosen a direction. From here, the head will rise, the spine will extend, the symmetry of your form begins. It is astonishing, this quiet geometry, from a circle, a line, from a line, a body. And while all of this is happening within you, the world outside continues, unaware. The mother might not yet feel you. She may not even know you are there. But already, your presence is shaping her. Already, you are part of her blood, her chemistry, her rhythm. This is the earliest intimacy, one body within another. Two heartbeats soon to beat in echo. The placenta deepens its roots, reaching farther into the uterine wall. It will become an exchange of life, bringing oxygen, delivering nutrients, removing carbon dioxide, filtering waste. But for now, it is just beginning. A lacework of vessels, invisible and sacred, and within the amniotic sac you float, still without limbs, still without a face, but not without direction. Each cell still listens, each cell still responds. The blueprint continues to unfold. This womb, this gentle chamber, holds the perfect balance, protection and openness, silence and growth. You do not need to choose, you only need to continue. And though you cannot yet feel, you are being felt. Your presence, your influence, ripples outward. The body that surrounds you feeds you in silence, and in return you grow, anchored, buoyant, safe, and soon, within this quiet sea, a flicker will rise, not thought, not breath, but motion. The first heartbeat will begin to form. It will not thump, it will flutter, like wings just discovering they were meant to fly. In the hush of your small, fluid world, a motion begins. Not dramatic, not loud, a flicker, barely there, the softest ripple across the surface of stillness. You do not yet have eyes to open, no lungs to breathe, and yet, inside your forming chest, something stirs. A rhythm rises from silence, as if the body is remembering a song it has never heard. This is the first heartbeat, a fluttering of cells that pulse in unison, like the wing beat of a moth trapped gently in the hands of time. There is no drum yet, no chambered pump, only a cord of tissue, simple, linear, soft, and yet it pulses. How does it know? No one tells it to begin. No spark, no command, just a quiet sequence written in your blueprint, whispered through proteins and timing that says, now. The heart is not made all at once. It begins as a tube, a hollow strand of cells formed from the mesoderm, your middle layer, where strength and movement begin to grow. This tube begins to bend, twisting gently, looping forward on itself. A slow spiral, like a ribbon being wound by unseen hands. And even before it finishes forming, it beats. A primitive rhythm, not yet coordinated, but alive. The beat begins at one end of the tube and flows like a wave, one direction, one motion, like a tide pulling forward. It is not a thump, it is not a pounding, it is a peristaltic pulse, like the gentle squeeze of a hand guiding fluid forward. And what does it move? Blood, or something close to it. A pale river of forming cells, carrying oxygen, carrying nutrients, carrying life. This is your very first circulation, a loop of motion that will one day stretch through arteries, veins, capillaries, miles of vessels inside a body not yet an inch long. You do not feel it, but it is you, and it is everything. As the days pass, the simple tube transforms. Chambers begin to bud, first 2, then 4. Atria and ventricles take shape. Walls fold in, valves begin to rise. The heart is learning its rhythm. It will beat without pause, without instruction, every second of your life. And it begins now. You do not yet dream, but this motion dreams forward, imagining a time when it will race with joy, flutter with fear, steady in stillness, ache with love. Your heart does not yet know these feelings, but it is being built to carry them around it. Other systems wait. The brain begins to curl forward, a hollow tube of its own, collecting signals it does not yet understand. Limbs bud from your sides, fins at first, soft outlines of hands and feet. But the heart beats before them all. It leads, and through its rhythm, the rest of the body learns what it means to grow. The pulse is a message. Asterisk, keep going. Asterisk, keep building. Asterisk, you are alive. By the end of your 5th week, this tiny heart, less than the size of a poppy seed, is already sending blood to your forming tissues, feeding them, carrying oxygen, delivered through the placenta, your other partner in this early dance. And though your lungs have not formed, though your breath is still far away, This circulation prepares you for that future. A future where blood will carry the breath you take through chambers, through vessels, through the very tips of your fingers. All of this beginning now, quietly, within the womb. The rhythm continues, soft, steady, certain, not for others to hear, not yet but felt in the deepest chambers of your forming self. A beat that is both yours and not yours, shared with all who came before, shared with all who will come after. You are not aware of it, but your body is, and it listens, and it builds. Soon, nerves will begin to spark, and muscles will learn to move. But for now, the only motion is this, the flutter of the heart, like a whisper, like a memory, like the beginning of time. And somewhere, just beyond that beating center, cells are curling into something new. A line, a fold, a tube of another kind, the spine, the signal cord of your future thought. And the rhythm of your heart will echo beside it, guiding, steadying, as another kind of power begins to rise, the electric hush of your nervous system forming. You begin, not with knowing, but with listening. Long before language or memory, before even motion, your body listens to signals, to rhythms, to the world within the womb, and to the world that waits outside it. In the very early days, when your form is barely more than a curled petal, a disk of 3 layers, thin and translucent, a miracle begins to fold upon itself. From the ectoderm, the outermost layer of you, a ripple rises. 2 edges curl inward, gently, like the first twirl of a scroll. They lean toward each other, kiss softly at the top, and fuse. A tube is born, the neural tube, the first trace of your nervous system. This simple, hollow line becomes the axis of everything you will eventually feel. It is the scaffold of sensation, the blueprint for thought, the first whisper of you as a being that thinks, dreams, and remembers. The top end of this tube will grow into your brain, and the rest will stretch, lengthen, and line itself into your spinal cord, that delicate braid of nerves that will one day let you dance, cry, pull your hand from a flame. But for now, it is still forming in secret, growing in layers and segments, quiet as starlight. Think of the spine not just as a column, but as a story written in segments, a scroll unfolding, vertebra by vertebra, each one a chapter of protection. And deep within that scroll, the spinal cord shimmers, a cord of communication wrapped in embryonic hush. Alongside the tube, 2 ridges rise neural crest cells. They migrate like stardust, blown by internal winds, settling into distant places, forming nerves, facial bones, parts of your heart, even pigment in your skin. They are wanderers with purpose, sculptors in motion. The body does not build linearly, it blooms, and the nervous system blooms in waves. First, the basic form, then the differentiation, cells deciding their destiny. Some will become motor neurons, sending signals outward like messengers of will. Others will become sensory neurons, receiving the world like delicate antennae, tuned to pressure, temperature, sound, and pain. Even now, as you float in the amniotic dark, this system is humming. It is not conscious, but it is aware. Reflex. Arcs begin to form pathways that will let you move without thinking. Pull away, grasp, blink, swallow. These are primal gifts, evolution's gentle inheritance. Picture your spinal cord like a river flowing from the brain's base through a tunnel of vertebrae. Every few millimeters, nerves branch outward, paired like wings, connecting, muscle to mind, skin to signal. They exit between tiny openings, perfectly spaced, organized by region, cervical, thoracic, lumbar, sacral. Each section a province of control. Your hands, your legs, your breath, all linked to certain levels. And around the spinal cord, your vertebrae begin to ossify, soft at first, cartilage, kissed by time, later, bone. But even in this soft stage, the curve of your back begins to take shape. You are not straight, you are not stiff. Your spine forms like a wave, an elegant S that someday will balance your every movement. And within its gentle curve, a secret cerebrospinal fluid, clear, cushioning, flowing, a tide that protects and nourishes your central nervous system. It moves with the rhythm of your heart, surging and receding like moonlight in your marrow. Even before your mind awakens, your spine feels. Tiny muscles flicker, a twitch here, a curl there. Signals spark across nerves like distant lightning. You do not will it, it simply happens. Your body, learning the idea of itself. At the base of the brain, nerves begin to sprout like roots. 12 pairs, the cranial nerves. Each one, a lifeline for future senses. They will smell your first memory, see your first sunrise, hear your first lullaby. For now, they reach out like tendrils, feeling for connection. The nervous system is not just wiring, it is a language, a way your body will speak to itself for every moment of your life. It is fast, faster than light down a wire. Faster than a thought you can finish. And it begins here, in silence, in simplicity, in the slow choreography of cells folding, fusing, flowing. Sometimes, when you are grown, you will feel awe and not know why. You will stand beneath stars and feel your back tingle, your spine align with the sky. Perhaps it is this early memory etched into bone and signal the deep knowing that you, too, are a constellation. For now, your back is a promise, a path, a tree of nerves branching outward. And just beyond, muscle begins to form, growing like bark around a trunk. The myotomes bands of embryonic muscle aligned with your spinal segments. Prepare to support you, lift you, move you. They listen for signals, ready to act. Even in stillness, there is movement. And even in the womb, you begin to feel. Not thoughts or emotions, but pressure, warmth, the gentle undulations of the fluid that holds you. A body learning to listen before it learns to speak. In time, your nervous system will become a labyrinth of trillions of synapses. But for now, this early web is enough. It connects you to yourself. And as you float, anchored in the womb's breath, a new light begins to stir. Above the spine, the brain expands, curling, budding, blooming. The top of the neural tube widening into possibility. The mind preparing to meet its own maker. Asterisk, asterisk, consciousness. You drift gently, not walking, not swimming, just suspended, held in a slow-motion gravity, where the only sound is the hush of your own becoming. This is the inner sea, a quiet ocean cupped inside your mother. And you, a soft body of stars, float at its center like a tiny moon. The amniotic fluid around you is not just water. It is memory. It is safety. It is your first home. A liquid lullaby that wraps every edge of your skin, shields you from harm, and lets you move before you know what movement means. This sea began with a single droplet, a thin film secreted by the amnion, that delicate membrane unfolding like a petal above you. Day by day, It filled the space around your body, rising gently until you were weightless inside it. Here, there is no gravity, no edge, no harshness, only fluid pressure, even and soft, pressing against your forming limbs, your round belly, your curled spine. The amniotic fluid is rich with meaning. At first, it is made from your mother, from the secretions of her body, from her waters. Later, your own kidneys will add to it. Your own lungs will cycle it. You will swallow this water, breathe it, exhale it, like a sacred tide passing through you again and again. Inside this ocean, your skin stays soft, your limbs stretch without pain. Each movement teaches your muscles how to push, how to bend, and yet there is no resistance, only yielding, only flow. It is practice for a world that will feel harder, louder, less forgiving, but not yet. Here, in this bubble of fluid, you are held without condition. The temperature is constant, not too cold, not too warm. Your mother's body adjusts around you like the perfect climate, and the fluid absorbs shocks, so that even when the outside world bumps and jolts, you are rocked gently like a boat in a quiet cove. You are learning, even now, what it means to be touched. The soft brush of the uterine wall, the cushion of fluid against your face and fingers. You open your hands, and something invisible presses back, not to stop you, but to remind you that space is something you share. Your sense of touch is the first to bloom. Through the fluid, you begin to feel your own body, your knees against your chest, your hand brushing your mouth. Sometimes, your thumb finds your lips, and you suck, not from hunger, but from the instinct of comfort. The inner sea makes this possible. It gives you space to discover yourself, and it holds sound in its silken folds. Not the sharp sounds of the outer world, not yet, but low, humming tones filtered through the liquid walls of the womb. You hear your mother's heartbeat, slow, steady, rhythmic, like the drum of the earth itself. You hear her voice, too, though you don't yet know it as a voice. Only a vibration, soft and musical, echoing through water and bone. And you hear your own rhythms, the flutter of your heart, the gurgle of your forming gut, the whispers of your body speaking to itself. Every movement, every sound is softened in this sea. Here, even your growth is slow and floating. Cells stretch, tissues fold, organs turn, all in time with the womb's gentle tide. The amniotic sac around you is clear, flexible, like a shimmering balloon. It holds this inner ocean in place, and when you turn, it turns with you. It is your world's outer edge, transparent and strong. As you grow, the volume of the amniotic fluid changes. At just 12 weeks, a spoonful. By 20 weeks, enough to fill a teacup. By full term, nearly a liter. But it's not about how much, it's about what it means. This fluid is a living record. Doctors can read its chemistry, know how you're doing, feel your health through the tide. And you, too, read it, not with eyes or thoughts, but with every nerve and instinct. You know its pressure, its warmth, its silence, and slowly your body prepares for its end. Because one day this sea will recede, the sac will break, the water will leave, but not yet. Tonight you float. You curl your legs in and stretch them out again. You turn slowly, not to go anywhere, but to feel yourself existing, suspended in the liquid between here and becoming. This sea is timeless. It echoes the ancient oceans from which all life once rose. You are not separate from them. Your body remembers. Your blood still holds the salt of those early waters. Your cells still whisper the instructions of creatures who swam before they walked. In this amniotic sea, you echo that memory. You are both new and old, floating in the same rhythm that cradled your ancestors. And even as your bones harden, as your lungs prepare to breathe air, you are still more water than anything else, still held, still fluid, still forming. For while longer, this sea will be your sanctuary. And then, one day, you will outgrow it. The tides will shift, the waves will stir. But for now, you are here, suspended between worlds, cradled by silence, rocked by pulse, and just beyond this calm, another part of you is beginning to wake, a system of circulation and breath gearing up for something astonishing. Because inside this inner sea, your lungs are learning to breathe. You do not yet see the world. Your eyes remain closed, sealed softly like petals, waiting for dawn. And yet, something inside you stirs a quiet readiness to receive, to know, not through thought, but through feeling. You are still curled in, your liquid cradle. But now the world begins to make impressions. You are becoming aware, not aware of facts or ideas, but of sensation, of presence, of the difference between stillness and motion, between silence and sound. Your senses are taking shape. It begins with touch, the first to arrive, even before your limbs can move freely. Your skin knows when it is held, when it brushes the uterine wall, when your own hand floats past your face. Tiny receptors bloom just beneath the surface, transmitting messages that have no words. A signal that says, here is the edge of you, and another, here is something else. You do not yet name what you feel, but you feel it still. The warmth of the amniotic fluid, the softness of your own cheek, the bump of your knee against your belly. You respond in small ways, a twitch, a stretch, a turning inward. By 12 weeks, your lips react to the slightest brush. By 14, your whole body begins to answer. And in time, your fingers curl gently when stroked, as if remembering a comfort you've never been taught. Your ears, too, are growing. Little ridges, folding into shape, delicate spirals sculpted from the edge of cartilage and possibility. From the outside, they seem still quiet, closed, but within, the cochlea is forming that snail-shaped labyrinth where sound becomes meaning. Even through the thick fluid of the womb, you begin to hear, not clearly, not crisply, but muffled. Rhythmic sounds, the watery echo of a mother's voice, the whoosh of blood in her veins, the thump of her steady heart. And in this underwater world, you listen, even when you sleep. You recognize cadence before language, patterns before pitch, the lullaby of breath, the gentle rise and fall of someone always near. At first, these sounds are strange, a rush, a hum, a fluttering whisper. But over time, you begin to distinguish one from another. By the third trimester, you turn your head toward sound. You grow quiet when voices soften. Your heart rate shifts in response, speeding up, slowing down. A secret duet with the voices that surround you. These are not just noises. They are introductions to comfort, to rhythm, to the pulse of a world outside. Your eyes, meanwhile, remain shut. They have no need to open. Light barely reaches through the walls of the womb. Still, they develop retina, lens, iris, layer by intricate layer. By 16 weeks, your eyes can move, glancing slowly beneath sealed lids, practicing the motions they will one day use to scan the stars. Even in darkness, you begin to perceive light, not in form, but in sensation. When your mother walks into bright sunlight, a warm glow seeps through her belly, and your world shifts from deep twilight to a gentle haze. You respond with stillness or a flutter, as if acknowledging the presence of something unknowable. Inside your tiny nostrils, olfactory neurons begin to take shape. You do not breathe air, but the amniotic fluid carries molecules, tiny whispers of what your mother eats, what she feels, what she inhales. Flavors and scents blur together, a hint of sweetness after fruit, a spice trailing through her bloodstream. You taste the world before you ever smell it. Through the fluid, you sample life, not in meals, but in murmurs. The tongue, too, begins to speak its quiet language. Taste buds form early, spreading across the surface in rows like tiny sensors. They will one day discern bitter from sweet, salty from sour. But for now, they are tuned to comfort, to the familiar essence. Of the fluid you swallow again and again. You do not hunger, but you practice feeding. You suck gently. You swallow slowly, not for nourishment, but for preparation, a rehearsal for a world of flavor and breath. Your vestibular system, the balance center deep inside your ear, starts to awaken. As your mother walks, turns, or lies down, you feel the shift, not just the motion, but the direction, up, down, sideways. Your body senses the gravity of her world, long before you will stand in it. These sensations train you, help you develop muscles, reflexes, the early patterns of movement. Sometimes you turn in rhythm, sometimes you float, still, but always you are listening, feeling, becoming. Even sleep is part of this sensing. You begin to drift between quiet states, not quite awake, not deeply asleep. Waves of rest and motion cycle through you. You dream, perhaps, though not in images, not yet. Maybe in impressions or echoes of a heartbeat. What you sense now lays the foundation for everything that comes later. The world has not yet touched you, but already it has left traces, soft fingerprints of rhythm and warmth, gentle clues written into your forming brain, pathways lit with the quiet memory of voices and vibrations. And though you know nothing of sound or scent, your body remembers. Each receptor, each neuron is a vessel for knowing. This is how the senses grow, not through sight or thought, but through experience, through subtle changes, tiny currents. In your fluid world, you are not just learning, you are rehearsing the art of being aware. Soon, those eyes will open, those ears will hear air, that tongue will taste milk, and your fingers will curl around another's hand. But for now, you remain in a hush between sensations, your body a quiet antenna for the soft language of the womb. And just beyond this layer of awareness, another system is preparing to bloom, a network of connection, of chemical signal, tiny molecules that will shape your moods, your hunger, your calm. You do not yet know them, but they are coming. Messengers, born of the senses, invisible but powerful. The first whispers of hormones and chemistry awakening just beneath the skin. Inside your floating world, a quiet revolution is unfolding. Layer by layer, the body builds itself. Every cell still remembers its part, as if following a map etched in stars. You are not alone. In your growth, inside you, universes are forming. Lungs, kidneys, liver, stomach, each organ, a world of its own, spinning into existence, finding harmony with all the others. It begins with your lungs, delicate and branching, like coral in a sea of potential, like rivers dividing into creeks, each one stretching further and finer until they become alveoli, tiny sacs like dew on morning grass. They will not breathe air for some time, but they prepare. They fill with amniotic fluid. They practice the gentle movements of inhaling and exhaling, a rehearsal for life. And within them, surfactant begins to form a thin, soapy film that keeps the lungs from collapsing, a kind of breath before breath. By week 24, you practice breathing movements. You don't need air, not yet, but your body is learning, quietly. Deeper inside, the heart continues its steady pulse, a four-chambered drum, now fully formed. It pushes blood through a growing network of vessels, carrying nutrients, oxygen, and instruction. Limbs and organs like roads in a city, each beat a message. We are alive. We are becoming. That don't yet exist in your world. It is your body's first great factory, silent and tireless. Each one forms a million nephrons, tiny filters folded with precision, learning to balance salts, water, and waste. By the end of the second trimester, you begin to produce urine and release it back into the amniotic sea. A cycle begins, not for survival, but for practice, a rehearsal of regulation, a song of self-sufficiency. Your intestines, once coiled outside your body, now tuck back into your abdomen, looping and folding like soft origami. The walls of your gut grow tiny finger-like villi, ready to absorb nourishment, though no food has touched your tongue. The stomach connects with the mouth and the bowel, and soon you begin to form meconium, a dark, tar-like substance, a collection of everything you've swallowed, amniotic fluid, lanugo cells from your own growing body. Even now, your digestive system knows how to wait, how to store energy, how to pass time. You are forming from the inside out, each system layered like planets around a sun, digestive, circulatory, respiratory, urinary, each taking shape in perfect coordination, each developing at its own pace, and still the pancreas begins its quiet work, producing insulin. The spleen joins the rhythm, filtering blood, managing red and white cells, a gatekeeper and guardian. And tucked behind the stomach, your adrenal glands begin to pulse. All these organs, tiny, tender, complex, align in a choreography of balance, each tuned to survival, each playing a part in a greater harmony. Glands sending messages through chemicals, whispers carried by the blood. This is how the body speaks to itself, not with language, but with intention. Growth hormone, cortisol, thyroxine, insulin, adrenaline, each one shaping you, not just physically, but emotionally, metabolically, behaviorally. They guide the way your bones stretch, the way your heart responds. And in the midst of all this growth, a sense of unity begins to form. Your systems are no longer isolated. They speak to each other. Your lungs wait for the heart. The liver senses what must be stored or released. Every organ learns its role. You are becoming a symphony, and yet there is still more. Tiny bones are hardening, the spine growing strong, the ribs forming their protective cage. Cartilage is replaced by calcium, turning pliable frameworks into lasting scaffolds. Joints form, tendons stretch. You begin to move with purpose, to flex, to roll, to kick. It gains layers, becomes a barrier, a boundary between you and everything else. Wax-like substance that protects you from the constant bath of the womb. It keeps your skin soft, whole. It shields you gently from the world you're not yet ready to meet. Like the fur of a baby mammal, keeping you warm until you can regulate your own heat. Are now over a foot long, your weight increasing with each passing week. But this isn't just growth in size. Every breath you haven't yet taken, your lungs are readying. Every drop of milk you have not tasted, your gut is readying. Every cry you have not yet voiced, your brain is learning how, and soon you will leave this warm, weightless world. Your body is preparing for transition, a change unlike any other, from liquid to air, from silence to sound, from womb to world. Nervous system refines. Each moment you grow not just in form, but in function. You are almost complete. This universe within you will soon face another, a vast, bright, unpredictable world. But first, you must pass through the ancient threshold, a narrowing, a descent, a movement from darkness into light. The body has prepared, begins, and as that journey approaches, another question begins to stir, not of organs or systems, but of something deeper. What awakens when you emerge? What becomes when the world opens its eyes to you? Time bends differently now. The third trimester begins not with a bang, but with a deepening, a quieting. You are heavier in the water now. Your skin, once thin and nearly translucent, has grown opaque, soft, and pink. Fat gathers beneath it, rounding your cheeks, padding your shoulders, wrapping you in warmth from the inside out. That fat, brown fat, is different from the kind you'll carry later. Nails reach the ends of your toes. Your eyelashes fan across, sealed eyelids. The body no longer invents new parts. It teaches the old ones to function, to synchronize. Your lungs, once heavy with fluid, that crucial, slippery substance, builds in strength. The digestive system rehearses your stomach, now regularly swallowing amniotic fluid. Your intestines churn gently, building motility, the wave-like motion that will one day move food from mouth to belly to bowel. And the brain, the quiet conductor behind all of this, undergoes its most dramatic transformation yet. Its smooth surface folds in on itself, ridges and grooves forming like valleys and hills, increasing its surface area, preparing for complexity. This is not just growth, it is pattern, it is potential, and in the midst of this electric silence, something new emerges. Sleep cycles. You begin to drift between active and quiet rest. Not conscious wakefulness, but waves of rhythm, like tides washing in and out of a dreamless shore. And perhaps there are dreams. Science can't say for certain, but your brain shows signs of REM, the same flickering dance. Seen in those who dream, what would you dream of? Sound, warmth, motion, the pulse of the placenta. You respond to touch, to pressure, to music. You hear voices, muffled but distinct. And slowly the womb begins to change. Your world shrinks. What was once a vast, floating galaxy is now a curved cocoon pressing you inward. But it is not uncomfortable. It is familiar. It holds you close. Your back curves in a soft sea. Your arms fold to your chest. The fetal position, a pose not of fear, but of readiness. Lanugo, the fine hair that once covered your body, begins to fall away, drifting into the amniotic sea. Only traces remain on your shoulders, along your spine. It clings to your creases and folds, guarding you until the moment of birth. Your bones, too, grow stronger, but not too strong. Inside your marrow, the factory of blood takes over. Your liver steps back, letting the bones take charge. Everything inside you now is rehearsing for independence. Your heart, once a whisper, now pumps over 100 times. Your bladder fills and empties. You suck your thumb, roll from side to side, hiccup from time to time, changing. Her hormones prepare the uterus. The cervix softens. The pelvis begins to loosen. The placenta matures, once an engine of construction, now a steward of maintenance. Its time, too, is nearing its end. And so the days pass. You grow, not just larger, but more yourself. You gain weight rapidly now, 1/2 pound each week. Your energy is saved, stored, converted to strength. Your nervous system sharpens, reacting more quickly, settling more smoothly. There is a quiet intelligence here, not of thought, but of order, of the body knowing what comes next. And what comes next is something no body can remember, but every body knows: birth. The final trimester is not just about finishing. It is about waiting, letting time do what time does best: shape, refine, balance. You are now a being of cycles, sleep and motion, heartbeat and breath, light and dark behind closed lids. And as space tightens, your movements change. No longer the somersaults of weeks past. Now rolls, stretches, pressure. You push outward, not in rebellion, but in conversation, close. You may begin to turn, slowly rotating until your head points down. It is instinct, not command. The body guiding itself toward the only door it's ever known. There are still weeks left, but the shape of things is clear. To do something remarkable, to leave this warm, floating world and enter one filled with air and noise and light. To cry, to breathe, to feel cold on skin, to be held. And yet, even as that hour approaches, your world remains dark, warm, rhythmic. There is no rush here, only readiness. Even now, it listens, it learns, it waits. And soon, in the silence before change, a pressure will build, and your body, all that it has become, will begin the journey home. But before that first breath, before the final push, a question rises from the dark like a star. When you emerge into light, will you remember the sea that shaped you? You are no longer only becoming. Now you are preparing, not just for birth, but for separation. For the moment when you leave one world and meet another. The womb, once infinite in its embrace, has drawn its borders close. You nestle in the curve of yourself, your chin tucked, your knees drawn up, floating in a warm stillness as ancient as the species itself. Inside this sacred darkness, there is movement, but not your own. A pulse in the walls, a wave of pressure, soft, deliberate, contractions that ripple like slow tides. These are not yet labor, they are whispers. The body sending quiet signals to itself. It is almost time. It is almost time. You feel the shift without understanding it. The uterus tightens, then softens. It stretches, not in pain, but in invitation. And somewhere in you, deeper than language, you respond. Your head turns downward, a slow, spiraling pivot. Your body twists within the amniotic sea, aligning with gravity, as if it has always known where to go. This is called engagement, but it feels more like listening to the pull of the pelvis, to the downward hum of life itself. And now you are no longer weightless. The womb once held you like a galaxy, suspended in all directions, but now you feel the soft pressure of downwardness. You rest against the cervix like a question waiting to be asked. Stillness and motion, warmth and waiting. Your days now pass in waves. The placenta, your quiet partner in life, continues its work. It transfers oxygen, delivers sugar, removes waste, but it, too, is aging, maturing. Its villi flatten. Its texture grows dense, like an autumn leaf turning inward before the fall. And as the placenta's time nears its end, your adrenal glands awaken. They begin to surge with hormones, tiny storms of cortisol and adrenaline, not from stress, but from signal. Your body is helping initiate labor before you are even born. The messenger and the message. Meanwhile, your lungs, those quiet, untested wings, send out a final note of preparation. They release a protein into the amniotic fluid, whispering to the uterus, *, we are ready. *, you may begin. And so, the mother's body stirs. The cervix, long closed and firm, begins to soften, thin, and slowly open. Oxytocin, the hormone of connection and contraction, rises like a slow tide, and with it the uterus begins its sacred rhythm. The work of labor has begun. You do not understand this, but you feel it. The world around you tightens, pulls, releases again and again. A pressure builds. It is not pain, not yet. It is * insistence. Your body begins to descend, not quickly, not easily, but with grace. Your skull, still soft, molds gently. The plates overlap, making your head narrow, pliable. A living key fitting through the lock of the pelvis. The path is not straight. It curves, turns, folds around bone and ligament. You rotate slightly, then again, each shift guided by force and form, by the shape of the passage and the strength of the squeeze. Inside, the world grows louder. Every contraction, every motion ripples through the fluid as sound, as pressure, as pulse. The heart beats faster, then steadies, then rises again. Your whole body participates in this dance, a duet between mother and child. You may sleep briefly, or drift between awareness and rest. Time is no longer measured by hours, but by waves. And in the dark, you begin to know something new. ***, the edge. ***, you are still of the womb, but no longer inside it entirely. You are part of two worlds now, the inner and the outer, the water and the air, the memory and the future. You push. Without pushing, you are moved, and you respond. There is effort, but no resistance, just motion and waiting, and a growing light at the farthest edge of your knowing. The birth canal presses in. The cervix opens wide, 10 centimeters, a perfect circle. And the womb does what it was built to do. It delivers. You move downward slowly, irregularly, sometimes retreating between contractions, then returning again. You do not cry, not yet, but the air outside waits, and the final descent begins. The crowning, when the widest part of your head presses through the perineum, a slow unveiling, skin to air, enclosed to open. There is tension here, but still, no fear, Because birth is not violence, it is transformation. It is the oldest ritual of life, a passing through, a letting go, a receiving. And in those last moments, when your face is still inside but your soul is already reaching forward, you may feel it, the great pause, the stillness before breath, the silence before sound, the moment when the world waits for your cry, for your breath, for you. And what will that breath be like? The lungs, so long filled with water, collapse the vessels they no longer need. A flap closes in your heart, the foramen ovale, rerouting blood to the lungs for the very first time. Air enters, pressure changes, the circulatory system rearranges itself in the space of a second. And with that, you become someone else, a creature of oxygen, of air, of sound, but not yet. Because this chapter is not about the cry, it is about the quiet before it, the pause between water and wind, the moment when you are both here and not yet here, held, loved, becoming. And as your shoulders pass through, as your hips twist and slip free, as your feet leave the world they've always known, you cross the final threshold. You are not born in the cry. You are born in the silence that comes before it. And in that silence, the first sound you may hear is not your own, but the heartbeat of another, close, strong, and familiar, still beating for both of you as the journey continues. For a long while, you knew only warmth, the hush of fluid, the soft thump of another heart, the gentle squeeze of muscle wrapped around your form. Now there is a new pressure, a brightness through. There is no slow transition, no warning. You are simply asterisk out of the sea, into the air. A membrane bursts, the line between inside and outside breaks, and the world floods in. Your chest rises, not by choice, by reflex, by design. As if your body has been holding a breath for months, and now, at last, releases it into the world. Your first inhale is not graceful. It is sudden. It is a gasp. The lungs which once lay folded like soft wings spring open. Fluid is pushed. Tiny vessels dilate. Blood changes course. The foramen oval, the fetal bypass in your heart, begins to close. Blood now flows into your lungs, not around them. And with this, your body shifts allegiance from the placenta to itself. You have never breathed before, and yet you do. A wail, raw, full, necessary. You do not cry because you are sad. You cry because everything has changed. You cry because your lungs are full and the world is waiting. That sound, your voice, is not just noise. It is proof of life, proof of presence. And as your cry fills the room, 100 things happen at once. The skin, once flushed purple and blue, begins to pinken. Your body temperature starts to drop, but you are lifted again, placed on a warm chest, skin meeting skin. A new rhythm greets you. Now, you curl instinctively, frog-legged, head nuzzled close. Stillness returns. The umbilical cord, your lifeline for months, still pulses faintly, but its purpose is complete. It is clamped, then cut. There is no pain, but something ancient within you notices the change. One body has become two. You are whole now, independent, though not alone. The cord once blew and spiraled like a river, until breath. Your skin, so thin, so new, learns to hold heat. The fine hairs that once coated your body, lanugo, begin to fall away. Your eyes may flutter open, not from clarity, but curiosity. The world, is blurred, washed in light and shape. But faces, especially one face, begin to imprint. You recognize her scent, her voice, her warmth, and she recognizes you. You are familiar in the way the moon is familiar, even when hidden by clouds. Your tiny fingers may flex, curling around one offered to you, not with strength, but with instinct. Grasp, hold, anchor. You may not know what safety means, but you find it. All around you, a quiet storm of biology unfolds. Your digestive system awakens, a swallow, a burp, a readiness for nourishment. Your kidneys, once passive, now filter each system, long in the making, steps into function. Sleep comes in short waves. Cycles begin. Eyes open and close. You drift. You return. And in these in-between spaces, you begin to explore sensation, the texture of cloth, the sharpness of sound, the way your own hand brushes your cheek and startles you, then soothes you, the rooting reflex, turning toward touch, the suck, the grasp, the flex, primitive movements, each a quiet preparation for 1,000 future actions. And what about your breath now? 12 to 60 times each minute, shallow, small, and sufficient. But watch closely. Each rise and fall of your chest is an echo of the womb's pulse. You are not separate from where you came. You are a continuation. And what of your voice? It softens. The initial cries give way to coos, to sighs, to silence. You are not crying now. You are being present, held, listened to. Time takes on a different texture. Each minute is long, full of firsts. Your first startle, first blink, first breath while sleeping. And in the space of hours, you have gone from womb to world. From weightless, the journey is not over. In fact, a new one has just begun. Because now, you must grow into this world, into your senses, your skin, your memories. And as your eyelids grow heavy, as the world dims again, you begin to drift. Sleep, the quiet echo of your first home. Sleep, where memories are made before memory exists. Sleep, where breath continues without thought, without fear. And as you sleep, one question floats quietly beside you. Now that you are here, who will you become next?